Welcome back to another edition of AI Rabbit Holes. This is a video series where we go down the rabbit hole of artificial intelligence and also marketing as well and try to get some of these top voices in the space on this channel. So I have today Chris Panteli. Now, Chris is an expert in digital PR and is also the co founder of Linkify, which is a digital PR agency helping brands win top tier backlinks. Chris, thank you so much for joining this edition of AI Rabbit Holes.
Thank you so much for having me, Ryan. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I've seen you all over the place, man. I saw you're interviewed by Charles Float and some other big names in the SEO space. So once you reached out to me, I was like, yeah, I got to get this guy on for sure. So I'm not going to get into the background or anything like that. People can research you. We're just going to dive right in here. And you've said before in your previous interviews that we're living in now the golden era of link building. So what changed? And I guess like why now in the age of AI search is this such a big moment for digital PR?
Yeah. So I think because of the onset of AI and how easy it is now to mass produce low grade content, the true editorial news houses and publications are still looking to produce great editorially written journalist first content. And the way that they bolster and enhance the credibility and authenticity of that content is by featuring and quoting experts. And there lieth the opportunity for experts and people with a bit of an SEO savvy part of their brain to think, well, maybe I can get quoted and I can also win a link from this like mega authoritative publication. So I genuinely believe now is a great time. The opportunities are there, and the links are there to be won.
Yeah, what was that light bulb moment for you? Let's rewind back a little bit where it made you realize that digital PR and backlinks were kind of the future of SEO and kind of how that's leading into AI search now. What was that light bulb moment for you where like I need to go all in on digital PR and link building?
Well, I mean, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. So it was always, we were lucky that we were good at doing this sort of journalistic link building, and it was the creme de la creme of links in the golden era of SEO. So we were well positioned there to be offering a premium service, or at least publicly talking about, there are many different types of links, but digital PR links are like the safest. It's the thing that Google says you should be doing, building your presence with the media. And that was all great. Then obviously we had, multiple updates, helpful content update. And it seemed to be that perhaps Google wasn't the be all and end all. And if that's the case, then where does that leave backlinks? But in the resurgence or the new wave of search discoverability, AI search, what is the leading driving factor that makes a brand become more visible inside of AI search? And it's building brand and being cited in tier one publications. You can see that ChatGPT, Perplexity, when they cite their sources, it's full of tier ones. And you build brand by getting that sort of exposure. So it's like being a second way for us. And I think it just boils down to, it's just real old school marketing, isn't it? It's being featured in authoritative publications, building authority to your spokesperson, to your business, to your brand, building brand, and then having this like longevity inside of wherever it is people are searching.
Right. Every SEO tool and all these SEO gurus out there, kind of the white hat SEOs in particular, they always talk about authority, right? Especially like EEAT, right? Experience, expertise, authority, trust. Well, let's be honest here, Chris. What does authority mean today in 2025, both, I guess, in Google's eyes and I guess from a brand's eyes? Like, well, how should people be thinking about authority versus the old advice of the EEAT and all that stuff?
I think the two do sort of sit quite well together. I think for us, authority, you have to look at like what it enables you to do, and that's control your own narrative. If you can go on podcasts, be featured in the media, TV appearances, speaking events, conferences, if you can be doing all of these things and then driving the narrative behind who you are, what you do, what your business is, what your business does, and you're having that repeated over and over again, it gives you that ability to control what's being like read and absorbed and trained by all of these large language models, these thousands of millions of parameters of data that they're absorbing. We want to be able to control that narrative so that when it gets trained and retrained, that it knows about us what we want it to know about us. And then I think that's also great for EEAT as well. Like
Yeah.
the more you can be visible across multiple areas in a form of like authentic expertise, then that's just better for your business, for your brand, for everything.
Yeah, and we've mentioned a lot about tier one backlinks. Can you define like what exactly is a tier one backlink? Is this just anything from Forbes? Is this something that's relevant and authoritative to a niche? Like, what's your definition of tier one backlinks over tier two, tier three, etc.?
Yeah, so for us, tier one is that household name publication. It's what you've heard of. They're not writing content for like SEO purposes. Well, I mean, they perhaps are, but the content first and foremost is being written by a journalist, and the website will be a massive authority in of itself. And like I said, it's that household name. Sort of, you've heard of them. You'd be proud and honored to put their logos on your homepage as like a featured in.
Oh yeah.
And you can't buy a backlink from them from like a link marketplace or from one of these dodgy Google sheets that get sent around. Like you have to really earn it. And then it can be a bit more niche than that. It can be a bit more granular. So if you're in like a very specific industry, we use DR and sort of traffic as like a rough gauge of that authenticity of it being like a tier one, but there are sort of subtle nuances. So if you're a real estate agent, let's say, then you want to be featured in realtor.com. It's like a DR90 with hundreds and thousands or millions of monthly organic traffic. But if you're a realtor from San Diego, then there may be a San Diego based like real estate news website that's slightly lower on those metrics, but is still a genuinely great publication. Journalists are writing for that publication, and it would be super great for you to win that hyper local link or coverage as well. So there are some nuances, but yeah, you've heard of it. It's genuine content being editorially produced by the team, and you have to earn that coverage as opposed to you can pay for it.
Yeah, I love that explanation. You don't have to give all the secret sauce away, but for anyone listening or watching to this, how do you earn these tier one links? It's not just hiring a digital PR agency and letting them do all the work. There's some elements that go into it here. Can you explain like high level how someone should think about earning a tier one backlink?
Yeah, you can just hire a digital PR agency to do it for you. But yeah, you need first and foremost, you need to be PR ready. So we get approached by a lot of people, pre-sales calls, let's say, and they're just not ready for us to engage them in front of the media. So it's basic stuff. In fact, it's that EEAT stuff. Like a journalist is going to hit your website to check you are who you say you are. So if you haven't got an about page, or if your about page is buried like 4 clicks deep into the navigation and the journalist can't quickly find it, you're already not in the best position you can be. So you need that instant ability to verify the website and who's behind that website. You also need to have really, really detailed about page, and you need to sing from the rooftops about your qualifications, credentials, accolades, awards, everything that you're proud of to say, and how it like means that you are that authority for your business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people just overlook that or don't do it, or they've got it and they haven't done it,
That's a great point. Yeah, because everyone wants to jump in and get these top tier links, but they don't think about what they should do before that to stand out. And speaking of standing out, we're in the age of AI is just really coming into everything in the mix now with PR, marketing, etc. How do you balance using AI by still adding that human touch when you're kind of pitching journalists for these big stories? Like, what's the balance there of using AI versus keeping that human touch?
The journalists, they want human, authentic content, but we are living in an era of AI. So
right.
you'd be stupid to not somehow be utilizing it, because we all do all day, every day. There's lots of things that you can do. I mean, it's great for gathering your thoughts, doing, quick bits of research or analytics. For us personally, if you are a true authoritative voice within your industry, then use a dictation tool. There's loads of them about there now.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've just
Whisper Flow and all those.
Yeah, I've just bought lifetime license for Voice Inc., which is really good. So
funny you say that. I saw that yesterday and did the same thing.
Yeah, so it's got a local model, so it's super fast on your computer. You can just speak into it, one button. You put together a bunch of ramblings. You don't need to worry about your ums and ahs, and then you can copy and paste that into like a model like ChatGPT and ask it to retain and maintain as much of the authentic original tone of voice and sentences, but just tidy it up for logic and grammar and spelling. It'll put together a piece of perfectly legible text that will almost always pass the AI detection tools because it is your voice. It's just been tidied up. So That's one great way. We can utilize it for things like analyzing journalist requests across social media platforms. We can use integrations with like N8N and build workflows to get alerts. Like there's so much we can do. And yeah, the more you utilize it and understand it, the more efficient you'll be in your activities of engaging the media.
No, I love that. And if someone wanted to build kind of an AI stack for digital PR outreach, like what would that look like? What are some tools and stuff people should consider?
So on I would sign up. First of all, I would sign up for some of the free PR request platforms. Harrow, help a reporter out.
Is that connectively now, right? They just rebranded and everything?
It was connectively. It then got like axed. I think it was bought out by some private equity firm. Is now been rebought by Brett Familio, who's the guy who owns Featured.com. So it's like integrated with
Brett Farmelo. Yeah, I had him on a podcast a while ago.
Yeah. Good guy. So he's doing some good stuff. He's brought it back to life. It's free at the point of delivery. Sign up, free request. SOS, Source of Sources, which was the original founder of Harrow, Peter Shankman. That's his like new version of the old Harrow as well. And then Quoted, I think spelled with a Q, QWT.
Yep, I've used Quoted.
Yeah, you get some free requests on there as well. You can build an N8N workflow to pull those requests into from an inbox, let's say, into an Airtable or a Google Sheet, and then you could preload some AI analysis on those requests. So if you only want to answer stuff to do with finance, or even though they may be categorized, it's quite broad, the categorization. So you could further get granular on that. You could even just pick a handful of domains or domain journalist combinations that you want to answer. If you've been successful with a journalist in the past, you may want to, just see their requests moving forward in the future. So there's loads you can do on that front. And then the other thing that I would suggest is like really robust tracking, because journalists, they are not there to give you links. They're
Right.
journalists and they forget. But oftentimes, if you've been quoted in an article and they didn't link, a really polite email that says, "Oh, I've just seen you quoted me, but you didn't link. Is there any way you can add a
Hey,
link?"
great story. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be prepared to do it. But you need to know if they've quoted you in something. So sign up for Google Alerts and Talkwalker Alerts as well, both free. And make sure you set your alerts in a really smart way. So use the open, close quotation marks around your name and then any variation of your business name as well. So if your business is called Big Drinks, then make sure you've got Big Drinks, no space, and Big Drinks with a space as well, because the journalists, they can change the way that they cite you. Track those, and then if you get quoted and you haven't been linked to, then you can email and ask them to add the link in.
Yeah, that was very well explained. Some great tips there too, And for me, when I've replied to some responses from journalists using featured.com or Quoted or whatever, a lot of times what I'll do too from a response standpoint is set up a project in Chat GPT or Claude, have this trained on me, remove certain words that are going to be flagged by AI detectors. Is this something that you recommend clients do as well with GPTs, projects, or something they can use just to get things going?
100%. Like I live and breathe inside of my personal custom GPT, which I've trained on hours and hours of YouTube transcripts.
Same. Yeah.
Brand tone of voice. Oh God, it's a lifesaver. And if you're pitching as an agency as well, you can do this for from a compliance point of view for individual clients. If you're pitching on behalf of clients, the more information that you can get on that client, like a lot of times if they're in like YMYL spaces, health, finance, there might be certain subjects they don't want to touch on. You can put that inside of your custom GPTs as like things to say, if this gets mentioned, flag it, because it shouldn't be done. And yeah, like you said, the more that you put in there, the more that you train it, the more it can be you.
Yeah, and there's definitely those AI slop words that I like to throw around, like robust, delve, all those ones that'll flag all the detectors. You just want to get rid of those for sure. Something, Chris, I'm really curious to hear your take on. We've seen, big tech companies, AI companies like OpenAI and Anthropic start to partner with all these big media giants. Dotdash Meredith, Atlantic, New York Times, right? And in my opinion, that's just kind of them getting in front of the legal lawsuits that are in the future. They would rather pay these companies up front to train their data versus go through years and years of legal situations. But we have to factor that in from a PR perspective, right? So like, how much do you look at them partnering with the New York Times or Dotdash Meredith, the Atlantic, and then start to put those publications on your map more, knowing that they're probably going to cite from their media partners going forward?
Yeah, I mean, we need to see which direction it goes. To be honest with you, you want to just be reaching out to where the opportunities are. So if the opportunities are there, then go for them. I wouldn't prioritize over a certain type of publication just because it's so competitive anyway. As a space, you wouldn't want to just let's say if Architectural Digest was remained an independent publication or didn't become part of one of these AI media power plays, you wouldn't want to like remove that from your pitch list. Or the BBC, let's say the BBC is gonna let's hope remain independent for years to come. You wouldn't want to remove the BBC from your pitch list because it's the BBC. Everybody wants a fucking link from the BBC. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But if it's going to maintain and create more opportunities for us to engage, then that's good because we know that there's been a lot of job losses across news publications. So, who knows how many more opportunities there are going to be going into the future.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about the future of SEO and PR a little bit more here. This is just kind of an interesting question to hear your take on. So if Google were to wipe out all the organic links like we see in traditional SERPs right now in favor of purely AI answers and search ads, which doesn't it seem like that's the way we're going anyways, where does digital PR go from there if Google just completely wipes out organic links?
Well, yeah, I mean, for us, it's that brand building aspect, and it's controlling the narrative inside of large language models. I don't think Google will get rid of all organic results. I don't see that happening. And Google is still growing in terms of like number of active users. So when people say SEO is dead, there's still 10 or almost always 10 organic blue links on the results page. And as a search platform, it's still growing. There are places where I see like SEO being a key player for certain, like for local SEO. I see it being a big thing for years to come. E-commerce may get a faster hit than we thought with the partnering with Shopify inside of ChatGPT. Although I don't particularly like that experience of seeing images of products inside of ChatGPT, and I know my parents would not be shopping on ChatGPT. They've just figured out how to do it on Google. So let's see where that goes.
Yeah, most of it's hype for sure. One thing I'm curious to hear your take on too is when it comes to trust signals, right? Obviously, backlinks are just one element of trust signals. We have brand mentions, we have podcast interviews, we have radio, TV interviews. So if you kind of had to rank, in your opinion, just doing this day in and day out, where would you rank like the most important trust signals in terms of, is it social media mentions? Is it brand mentions, backlinks, visibility on other forms of media? How would you kind of rank these in your mind?
I'm not sure. I think it is a question of you've got to do it all. I think that is the secret sauce to building those trust signals. Is you can't just be on one platform and expect to have that trust all over the place. Like links, the good thing about digital PR is it's almost always a homepage branded anchor text link. So it doubles up as a brand mention, but it's also a link. So you've got 2 for 1 if you're doing digital PR. People are saying brand mentions may become the new link. I'm not sure if that is necessarily true for Google, but I certainly see the value in the brand mention for LLM visibility. So you may as well do digital PR because you're ticking 2 boxes at the same time. You're getting the brand mention and you're also getting the algorithmic SEO value of the link. But you want to leverage that. You want to like build those relationships with journalists. We had a client recently who we'd been doing so much digital PR for them in the real estate space that actually the New York Times wanted to go out to his house and do like an op-ed piece, photos, the whole thing. Another client in the e-commerce space got a Channel 4 documentary, like television documentary to be included in. So these sorts of things is leveraging that first foot in the door with the media, and then like you said, leverage that into podcast opportunities, TV, speaking events, conferences, podcasts, and try and do it all. Even though there is not enough time in the day, you have to try and find out how to do it all.
I didn't even talk about that, but you brought up a good point about the value of building strong relationships with these journalists, because we have to keep in mind, Chris, and you know this, they are pitched hundreds of times a day from not just real PR people, but you got AI bots in the mix pitching them. And it's like the importance of establishing these relationships with journalists. I tell people, and I do this myself, you want to provide value to the journalists first, whether that's, sharing their stories, engaging with them on social media. So I think going forward, that is such an underrated strategy, just establishing relationships and providing value to journalists at, key publications that you want to be a part of long term.
Yeah, 100%. And you never know like how it's hard to measure the ROI on that. But if you find a way to do that, then it will come back to you. Recently, I'd followed a journalist that had published a really great article with one of our clients included in that article, and then I'd done a social media post about a Google update or something to do with Google, and he'd seen that and then reached out to me and say, "Hey, would you do some quotes for an article we're working on about this the Google lawsuit?" That was it. So I was given this like media opportunity from social just by being social with journalists. So yeah, 100% leverage the hell out of those opportunities because they're there and they will present themselves. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, I'm going to run through some rapid fire AI questions. It's kind of how I conclude every episode here of AI Rabbit Holes. So I'm just going to run through, give me your quick answer, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So
can I load up my chat GPT? One second.
Oh, yeah. Just for voice mode and you let it reply back. Yeah. So rapid fire AI questions here. So the first one, boldest prediction you have for digital PR and link building in the next 12 months. If you had to give just one bold prediction, what would that be?
Well, I think the people that have got the relationships with journalists will be the ones that survive as agencies. So I foresee mass spam outreach, cold email, cold campaigns to journalists will just go down and down and down in terms of effectiveness, and people that are able to deliver a coverage for clients will be the ones that have got an existing network of like maintainable relationships with journalists at key publications.
Domain rating and domain authority, overvalued or undervalued?
Domain authority, Moz is not good. I don't find any value in that. Ahrefs domain rating is good for a first whiff of the problem or the issue or whatever you want to find out. Don't use it as a holy grail metric, but it is a great way of just quickly looking to see what's going on with the site.
Yeah, for sure. Will legacy SEO tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs become obsolete?
Depends who can figure out the LLM visibility problem first. I know Ahrefs have spent an absolute fortune. I haven't paid to upgrade to actually look at it, but I know it's just based on like data points, which I don't think is an effective way to measure AI visibility. So I don't know. Plead the fifth on that one.
yeah, that's a good response. Would you rather have one generic backlink from Forbes or 5 relevant hyper-focused backlinks from outlets in your industry?
Authoritative outlets.
Yeah, like local news sources or just
local
anything
news
like
is good. I would rather have one Forbes over 5 dodgy
for sure.
Yeah. But
there's a lot of nuances to that question.
Yeah,
no doubt.
hyper relevant local news is great. So I mean, you can get that through digital PR. So yeah, I can safely say that's fine.
What's the most overhyped AI tool for PR right now?
Any of these like one-click, I won't name any names, but any of these one-click press campaign things. This is what's going to kill the industry because it's not good.
Elaborate on that a little bit.
You can get these tools that will write a press outbound campaign for you with AI, and then like put some data together that's questionable, and then build a list of journalists, which again is questionable as to how targeted that list to journalists is, and then send it all out. We're seeing in the news these tools are getting like slammed by journalists, and it's overwhelming their inboxes, and it's all low grade, low tier, low quality stuff. So if this keeps happening, it's going to jeopardize the actual ability to build relationships with these journalists in a human way, where the press releases have been written, human first, which is with AI editing, as opposed to one click. Here's a story created by AI.
Yeah. Podcast interviews, waste of time or worth it?
Worth it.
Yeah. Doesn't matter how big the podcast is, relevant, etc.
I don't look at any of that. We do podcast outreach for our clients. I do podcast outreach for myself. I got a good hack how you can find podcasts, actually.
Let's hear it.
If you want. So go to listennotes.com, type in your keywords.
Listen notes. All right.
Yeah. Open, close quotation marks. Let's say your SEO marketing. Go to the relevance and just change to date. So you'll see all of the ones that have been published in the past few hours. Have a look through. If you see there's a podcast, someone talking about your subject, what you want to talk about, then you can find that person, reach out and say, hey, how would you feel about me being on your show?
That's awesome. And I'm actually really bullish on podcast interviews for a few reasons. Number one, people don't realize the amount of backlink juice that you get if someone's, populating their show correctly through YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all the other podcast platforms that come with just one episode. And then also too, we're in a trust recession, Chris, honestly. So in the age of AI, what's going to happen when more people just have AI podcasts and traditional voices like you coming on here and doing these types of video podcasts? That builds so much trust and authority going forward. I think there's really no other way to spoof that.
100% agree. Plus the transcripts. LLMs love the
Transcript, yeah.
transcripts, and they're gonna. That's real. Me and you have not used any AI to say anything that's come out of our mouths today. This is all authentic, brand new content and information, and that's going to be put out there, and that's great.
And you better believe Gemini and Google's AI mode are looking at YouTube transcripts to, feed their data sources with whatever the query is.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Last one I have for you here, Chris. What's one SEO practice that needs to die this year?
Oh, I suppose the LLM.text or whatever it is that everyone's banging on about. There's no evidence for it to be to perform any sort of function in the LLMs. Everybody went mad trying to put together this like robot.text, but for LLMs. So I suppose that should die because it's officially isn't being used by any AI tools.
You made me think of one more on that same topic. AEO, GEO, LLMO, are these different than SEO best practices, or do those need to die as well?
What do you mean? Say that again.
Like LLMO, GEO, AEO, are these different than, actually doing good SEO?
Yeah. Okay. There will be nuances. Yeah, definitely. So if you're going to optimize for Google, then you can see the 10 results that Google is going to show you for a target keyword. You can see those 10 results. You have to back engineer why it chose those 10. In ChatGPT, you can use the same keyword and it will tell you exactly the sources that it's pulled from. So you need to either be the source if you can create the source, or be inside of that source if it's like a listicle or whatnot. But what you can't do inside of the LLMs is in any way, with any form of accuracy, predict the multiple million variations of discovery engagement that the user might go down. This is called the AI rabbit hole. This is where we all get, on ChatGPT having a conversation. You could be like an hour deep in a conversation, and eventually you're getting to where it's going to surface recommend via a citation, a business or a brand. But how did you get to that place? There is no way of tracking that. So yeah, I think the optimizations there'll be nuances, but I think you can build on top of a good foundational SEO work and then tweak for LLMO.
That was well explained. One of my latest things I like doing lately is, finding all these AEO, GEO gurus on LinkedIn using these SEO is dead clickbait hooks just to drive up engagement. I love attacking those people because most of these people don't even have SEO backgrounds. They don't even know what any of this, fundamental foundational stuff looks like, but now they're branding AEO and GEO as like this new mad scientist thing that's going to take over everything. And I'm like, who are you people? You know what I mean? Like, let me shine light on reality for 1 second and stop using your engagement pods to spoof engagement,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Actually, I saw, there was a good thing on Twitter the other day where someone had looked at the Ahrefs keyword difficulty and average monthly searches for all of those variations of GEO, AEO. So which is the one that we should land on? And I think the winner was AI SEO.
I like that one, actually. Yeah. That actually makes sense.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Chris, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Where's the best place for people to follow you online and learn what you're doing?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me, Ryan. LinkedIn is a good place, Chris Panteli, or YouTube, Linkify, Twitter, Linkify_, or just from the website. If anyone wants to book a call with me, we've got a Calendly link on there, linkify.io.
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much again for your time. And thank you to everyone for watching or listening to this edition of AI Rabbit Holes. Be sure to tune in again next time.